Coming up next on Feedback Friday, more discussion on Goldberg's victory over Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series, your comments on last week's shows, and this week's Battle of the Brands. All that and much, much more on Feedback Friday.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday, here for Friday, November 25th, 2016. Damian Nelson sitting alongside some hack who just sat down here a few years ago, and I don't know why, but keeps showing up. His name is David Hero. David, not that I care, but how are you?
Great.
No, that's a matter of opinion, one I don't share.
Me, I just told you, I'm the op, I'm the opinionist here. Bro, we got a week. In basically 8 days from now.
Mm-hmm. Are you prepared for the loss? Are you prepared to see my hand, the referee's hand, and Abyss's hand?
You know what? I will say this. If somehow you do find a way to cheat to win.
Win? I don't have to cheat.
When have you ever won normally?
I win at life every day.
Okay. All right.
Normally. With no hacks.
I just think that you've made this show so stressful.
December 3rd, Blizzard Brawl, presented by House of Hardcore. Tommy Dreamer, the Big Guy Ryback, Mickey James, Colt Cabana, Angelina Love,
Katie Forbes
are all working underneath me in the main event.
Both
in a steel cage matchup, teaming with Abyss, going up against you and Al Snow. And I know for a fact, matter of fact, I'll guarantee it, that you will never be the same after December 3rd. It's just a fact, Jack, and I think you've come to grips with that fact. And we'll have to live with the consequences of your mouth swiping a credit card that your ass will never be able to cash.
My ass doesn't carry cash.
Well, it's better carry something because it's going to need to carry the weight of the loss.
Okay, all right.
Next Saturday at Blizzard Brawl.
We just do the show.
Oh, of course, because you don't want to talk about losing. I understand. Suppress those bad thoughts, those bad feelings, because nothing good will come of it.
Beavis?
Folks, a little bit of a different approach here on Feedback Friday this week. We do have your Battle of the Brands, as Linda said earlier, but we've also got more discussion on the big news coming out of last weekend's programming from WWE.
I would cancel Battle of the Brands because this is no contest anymore.
The Survivor Series, folks. Goldberg takes a big loss, a surprising loss.
No, he does not. Lesnar takes a big loss.
Why can't I get those two properly aligned in my head?
Well, like what you said earlier, they both look the same.
When did I say that?
Off air.
Well, then I didn't say it.
No, the mic was hot. I got my mic on, too.
Goldberg with a huge victory over Brock Lesnar in an unexpected fashion.
Good God Almighty.
This past Sunday at the Survivor Series, just under 2 minutes was the duration of the entirety of the match. Everyone expected Goldberg would win. Lesnar, rather, would win the matchup. Goldberg getting the win, and then Goldberg on Monday would tell us that he's not done. Confused. He's not over. He has one more title reign left in him, and he will be in the Royal Rumble on the road to WrestleMania, where seemingly he and Brock Lesnar will have the rematch of all rematches. Now, David Hero, what I want to hear from you is
How's it a rematch of rematches? He's up 2-0.
Number one, your thoughts on the continuation of the story between Lesnar and Goldberg. Your thoughts on what should happen at the Royal Rumble. And your thoughts on what should happen at WrestleMania, because it's a given. Goldberg will be a part of the big show in Orlando. Do you want to make a bet on it? If it's not a given, if it's not a given, then I will bet you $20,000 sitting here right now that Goldberg will be one of the headlining main events of WrestleMania, and you're saying he won't be. See, again, credit card swiped.
The next 5 months. If I'm booking the next 5 months, I'm gonna have Lesnar cost Goldberg the Rumble victory. Okay.
Again, if you're gonna have these gimmicks sitting here, can you answer them?
Yes.
I need a break. I can't handle it.
Seriously.
Let me know who. Tell them I'm not here, whoever it is.
Vlado, I'll be there at 7:30. Pump the brakes. It's fine. Relax. We're good. All right.
Let me know when you're done. Doing a show here on Fight TV. All over the world. You're done?
If I'm booking it, there has to be a reason for Goldberg to want to fight Lesnar again.
Lesnar?
Lesnar. Because he's no longer Lesnar because he's lost. He's not Lesnar. How do you get Goldberg, how do you poke the bear? You got to take stuff from him. You either make fun of his kid, You cost him a world title match at WrestleMania, or Lesnar says, hey, you beat me for the 3rd time, I retire, I quit.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Now, a man, Lesnar, who ended the streak of The Undertaker. Almost nothing bigger can be done in wrestling at the time.
But he could retire Bill Goldberg, too. He could end the streak and retire Bill Goldberg.
Yeah. That is very true.
I would do a minute 46 job for that.
Would you do Goldberg Lesnar at Mania in Orlando?
You might have to. You might have to do that.
So what happens at the Rumble to get us there?
Well, I think Lesnar has to cost Goldberg his title match.
Because that's all he's here for. That's all he's sticking around for is for that one more title run. So Goldberg
He's not here to have a program with Rusev.
Right.
He's not here to have a program with Baron Corbin.
Right.
He's definitely not here to watch the cruiserweights.
Right. Okay. Well, there is a little bit of wrestling knowledge in that brain of yours. And again, it's that arrogance that's going to cost you your ass. This is smart, though, from WWE because they have 70,000 seats to sell in the Alamo Dome for the Royal Rumble. Now Goldberg being a big part.
Yes.
Ooh, if that's not Goldberg, I might just punch you right now.
No, it's Steinberg. Relax. My accountant.
Oh, been waiting for this call.
Okay. Please. Thank you. So glad I got that back. I'd be missing these calls otherwise.
Care to share what just happened on your little phone call there?
Personal.
It's when you take a call on national broadcast television.
Yeah.
It's no longer personal, my friend. That just happened. So
Okay.
what was so important?
Well, there was an issue. We're getting it resolved.
The laundry's all done?
No, it's an audit. It's a long audit. I get
is that why you
audited
can't
every
release your
year.
tax returns?
Yes.
Complicated taxes?
It's very complicated.
Lots of real estate?
I do have a lot of real estate.
Lots of foreign dealings?
She's Dominican. I don't know if I would consider it dealings.
Some have talked about Goldberg Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Some have talked about Lesnar Undertaker rematch at WrestleMania. What would you do if not Goldberg Lesnar with Goldberg at WrestleMania at this point, which is very far out?
Taker has to work with John Cena.
That match has not happened.
It has to happen.
It does.
It may have happened once or twice.
Not at WrestleMania.
Not on a large scale.
Right. And Cena's going to be, we don't know when he's back, but there may not be a ton of time once he's back.
You know what? You got to do a winner take all between Lesnar and Goldberg. Whoever wins takes the other guy's career.
It's over, it's over.
Yeah.
There's none of this, no Survivor Series redo, if you will. Meaning the fans are invested because they know this is it. They know they're going to get the match that matters. They know
because there's no reason to have it. He's up 2-0.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're not going to make it a best of 7 or a best of 5.
Well, they could. I mean, we just saw Sheamus.
No. Please. No. And how did that end?
No, not well. Well,
Another tag team.
They're a good team, though. A good team, an entertaining team. Well, folks, you've provided us with some feedback on everything that's going on in professional wrestling right now. And we're going to share with you some of those comments when we come back here. This is brief timeout here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Make it quick. I got stuff to do.
House of Hardcore is coming to Waukesha on Saturday, December 3rd at the Waukesha County Expo Center. See the last ever GLCW Steel Cage match as Alvino and Dave Hero team up to take on Abyss and Damian Nelson. This match not sanctioned by House of Hardcore. A mixed tag team match featuring Mickey James, Tommy Dreamer, Angelina Love, and a mystery partner, and Bob Holly takes on Sami Callihan. Including special appearances by Ryback, Mickey James, Colt Cabana, and more. Don't miss it! And more info now at houseofhardcore.net.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday here for Friday, November 25th, 2016. It's a day after Thanksgiving, and I am thankful for the fact that it seems to be only 2 more weeks.
We're taping.
1 more week.
Yeah,
I have to sit next to this jabroni.
Is talking. He says that you suck. He said I have the worst tag team partner on the planet.
Comparatively speaking, your tag team partner sucks. Yes.
So, yeah. All right.
Is he going to bring his little doll with him to the match on December 3rd?
Hold on.
I don't want to talk to him.
He says you wouldn't know what to
call me
do with head if you ever got it. All right. All right, man. Thanks. I love this. Is great. I'm not missing anything anymore. Wrap it up, will you there,
It's
Slip?
time for this week's Battle of the Brands, ladies and gentlemen. It's the decision point of which show was the better of the two between Raw and SmackDown this week, as voted on by you, the fans. Before we get to your vote, let's talk about our perspective. Of course, we talked about both shows in-depthly yesterday on primetime, but now let's talk about them in a brief form. And first, let's start with this week's WWE Raw, David Hero. Your highlight of the night. What did you leave Monday night with from Raw? It should be obvious.
Jericho
You pick that.
in the Sin Cara mask. Because it's like dirty. You know what I mean? It's like the boys in the back all popped for it. They could have just let it go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you get it, you get it. If you got it, you got
I
it.
popped for it.
That's your takeaway. So my takeaway would be, of course, the thing that doesn't require you to...
The thing that we've talked about for the last 10 minutes. Yes, Goldberg is back in the Rumble.
My
Big deal.
takeaway from this past Monday's WWE Raw was Goldberg's overall promo, along with the overall situation between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens in the highlight reel. Those are the two things that made Raw stand out as a thing for me. I'd give it to Charlotte and Banks a little bit as well, too, because I thought that was a well-done segment with Nia
Give it to
Jax
him.
coming out, and Enzo tried to do that, coming out and getting involved in that situation. But a solid Raw this past Monday night, and I think in the fan voting, you'll find out that it was more solid than it has been in recent weeks. So with that, though, David Hero, your takeaway, your go-home point, if you will, from SmackDown this past Tuesday night. Not that anybody cares, but please.
My takeaway from SmackDown
On Tuesday night on the USA Network.
Tuesday night on the USA Network was James Ellsworth again getting over on AJ Styles.
I would second that emotion, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an interesting story, and as has been pointed out many times on this program, it's been a unique and interesting and an unlikely candidate in James Ellsworth, ladies and gentlemen, who now has a contract on SmackDown. What, though, does the future hold for James Ellsworth, David Hero?
Action figures?
He's been involved in the
Action
main event,
figures?
great, all that, but he's been involved in the main event scenario on SmackDown for months.
Yep.
Now what? Because that
He's
can't
going
continue.
to the Royal Rumble.
He's going to be one of 30.
Yes.
Somebody's going to lose a spot for a man who clearly has not a snowball's chance in hell of winning, James Ellsworth.
Come on. Look at some of the past people in there.
You're right. There are a lot of people in the match who don't have a chance of winning, but there are a lot of people in the match who can make it more Ellsworth can make it more entertaining.
Of course he can. He can hide and be
No
a
chin
coward.
music.
Yeah, like what you're going to do.
Okay, so but you just leapt to the Royal Rumble. Long term, though, I mean, he's a SmackDown superstar
He'll
now.
be done by WrestleMania.
Still be the best run of his career, right?
Oh, of course.
Well, folks, we asked you on our Twitter machine, at PWR Show on Twitter, that's at PWR Show on Twitter, who you thought won the week between Raw and SmackDown, as we do every week. And keep in mind, we come into this episode with Raw on a losing streak to SmackDown's win streak of some 15 weeks. Well, SmackDown did it again, folks. 60% of you voting for SmackDown this week to 40% of you that voted for Raw. Now, that's a closing of the gap, David Hero. In essence, SmackDown is Hillary Clinton and Raw is Donald Trump this week because it won the vote. Did
Okay.
SmackDown. SmackDown getting 60% to Raw's 40%. We see that gap closing, if you will.
When was the last time you closed a gap like that?
Goldberg was probably the reason for this.
Oh, there's no question.
And each week you can vote, ladies and gentlemen, here in Battle of the Brands for which show you thought was better between Raw and SmackDown. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter, at PWR Show on Twitter. While you're there, please be sure to go ahead and unfollow at David Hero on Twitter so you can prepare for his no longer being able to physically
You
compete
know what?
and
People
participate in
would
this
be
broadcast.
distraught if I was no longer on Twitter.
Would they?
They would, because I bring a lot of
You're one less
knowledge.
person I have muted.
I bring a lot of information, perspective,
A lot of thumbnails,
knowledge.
a lot of DMs.
Thumbnails? My thumbnails aren't. What's wrong with them?
Well, let's go into this week's comments, and thank you for participating in Battle of the Brands. And our first comment comes to us from our YouTube channel, and a YouTube user by the
Watch
name
your language. We have ladies around.
YouTube user by the name of Kenny Wood.
Kenwood?
Like the park in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Kennywood. He says, and I quote, and this is reference James Ellsworth, and this is interesting, so please listen for the first time in your career here on the program, David Hero. And I quote, "Nothing against James Ellsworth, but how can people boo Roman Reigns, who is better in the ring and when they let himself be better on the mic, for getting shoved down the fans' throats? But Ellsworth gets a free pass for the same. And yes, I did say Roman Reigns is better on the mic. Don't believe me? Watch his work from Florida and early NXT. When they don't give him a script and let him talk for himself, he was gold. But to be fair, he was also working as a heel then. So, interesting comments there from Kenny Wood.
No,
the
not at
comparison
all.
between
Here's
Reigns
the
and
thing.
Ellsworth.
One's a gimmick.
Okay.
Ellsworth is a gimmick. He shouldn't be there in the first place. So he's like...
He's the unlikely superstar.
The fans are going to cheer for him because they can relate to him.
Because he's an everyday guy.
Yeah.
With no...
He's the son of a plumber.
Joe the Plumber?
Yes.
Well, thank you for that comment there, James Kenny Wood. And our next comment comes to us from Frank Grimes, who says, and I quote, "What the hell was going on with the state of
What
the
the hell
WWE
is
address?
that?
Shane coming out and throwing a bottle at Mick, the Bryan versus Foley shoot, the TNA mention. I know there's most likely someone in Renee Young's ear telling her to get control,
never
but this
got
is the
that
second time she tried to stop WWE Network Gold from happening. She needs to learn when to step back and let things happen organically. Forget it.
Forget it. You what,
Oh,
Renee?
you just made the list. Interesting dynamics with the list. Here's the role Renee Young is playing in all that scripted television on the WWE Network.
There's somebody in her ear.
Somebody's got to be trying to keep control of
Exactly.
the meltdown, if you will. If it's just a meltdown completely, then it would be like him hosting the show every week. So you need that person, that broadcast journalist, that moderator, that wolf blitzer at the Thanksgiving dinner table who will keep things in check and keep things in order. That's the role she's
That was
playing.
rude. I'm
Wolf
not
Blitzer?
a meltdown kind of guy.
If you hosted this show, it would last about 8 minutes, and there would be absolutely
And
no
we would get
substance
all of our
to it.
stuff in right away.
And you'd be like Dixie Carter, just putting your "follow me on Twitter" down at the bottom.
What?
Yes, I did just compare you to Dixie Carter.
That's brutal. I don't appreciate that. I'm
You still
done.
have your Dixieland shirt?
I do.
That you own?
I do.
You purchased. You gave her. You put money in her pockets when you
Yeah,
bought
she
that
gave
shirt.
it to Billy Corgan. That's fine. So I gave Billy, Billy got it.
Thank you for those comments, ladies and gentlemen. That is indeed the entirety of this week's Feedback Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, all jokes aside, as he is a complete and total joke, David Hero. Shenanigans. We made the announcement yesterday on Primetime. The small change to the details of the event during WrestleMania weekend due to WWE changing the schedule of NXT and the Hall of Fame. The event now to be held on Saturday, April 1st. It's going to be at the Pub at Point Orlando, a tremendous venue. You know, you can pour your own beer there. They got beer tappers. You
really?
can, at your table, you can pour your own beer. You don't have to wait for
So you
somebody
can
to come.
tap at your own table?
You can tap at your own table before you tap at home. That's going to be at the Point Orlando, Saturday, April 1st. Shenanigans moves from Friday night to Saturday night so that there is no interference with the Hall of Fame. As we know, the Hall of Fame can run long. So much like other big events in Orlando during WrestleMania weekend, we have made the decision. Actually, Kevin told us to, right?
Yes.
Kevin Nash told us to move the event from Friday to Saturday night. All the details of that right now available at pwrshow.com. Is there a particular reason you're throwing things around at this table?
Because I'm done. I
Yes,
think-
you
I
are
think
done.
this whole
You're
week you've
done
been
because on
rude.
December 3rd,
You haven't been
House of
thankful.
Hardcore, Blizzard Brawl, me, Abyss, my partner, you, Al Snow, your partner.
And we're going to be
Tag team
sold out
action.
at the
sold out on
but-
internet pay-per-view. I am going to whoop yo ass.
What are you so
worse
bouncy
than
for?
any ass whipping you have ever taken in your life.
I've never had one.
Mentally, physically prepare. I hope that was your accountant settling up your final accounts, because this for you, David Hero, is OVER, which is what I am.
Overe?
Over.
Oh, you're over all right.
Lake Rover.
There's no doubt.
This has been Feedback Friday, ladies and gentlemen.
Like Red Rover?
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next Thursday on Primetime. Next Friday on Feedback Friday,
I even
which will
get-
likely be his last show.
Boom.